Hey traders, this is Blake Morrow with Trader Summit, and with me today is Jake Wujastyk from Trendspider. Jake, how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you? Thank you for having me on.
You know what? This has been a long time coming, and Jake and I were having a conversation just previous to hitting the record button, and we do go back a few years. And when we were starting Forex Analytics, we had talked to you and had you with us on and we still, even to this day, had you on for some shorter interviews with Forex Analytics and talked about your charts and what you've done. And I have to say, from an outsider looking in and seeing what you guys have done with Trendspider over the last few years, you guys have really done well, and I'm super excited for you.
Thank you. Really appreciate it. It's really been a long time coming, and just kind of growing over the years has been great. And it's really because of our partners, affiliates, our customers helping spread the word. So, we really pride ourselves in having, an awesome product, but without, that side of the equation, it wouldn't have been possible. So just, always a big shout out to everybody that helps spread the word and use the product and, helps evangelize it with the rest of the team.
Awesome. Well, Jake, here's the reason why I wanted to bring you on to Traders Summit is because not only do you guys have a great product, but you do your fair bit of trading. So today, I really wanted to explore who Jake was and kind of what you do as a trader, what your background is, how you approach the market. So let's start off with tell us a little bit about you and what you do in the markets.
Yep. So, my main job is to really be kind of a thought leader for Trendspider. So find different ways to view the markets and really different perspectives that no one's really thought about before, using some of the different tools that we have on the platform. So one of those, definitely raindrop charts, which is a volume weighted chart. The volume by price, which is something that's not, incredibly proprietary. We do have some things that make it proprietary. The ease of use of kind of anchoring and measuring volume distribution from different points in time. So really my way of trading is based on supply and demand. So I studied economics in college, and when I was in college, I'm looking at these supply and demand curves. I'm like, how the hell am I going to use this ever in anything? And then over time, I started to kind of understand how prices move in the market and how these supply and demand curves really worked. Yeah. And so I've kind of taken what I learned through just basic economics, just supply and demand curves, and really applied them to the markets using something I've called a volume shelf, which is just essentially a bunch of volume nodes using the volume by price. The anchored volume weighted average price, which is something that Brian Shannon introduced me to a couple of years ago. That's something that's kind of new in my arsenal, I guess. And then the raindrop charts are big too. So I really like to look at the supply and demand side of things. I definitely like to look at trend lines and, get an idea of like, is the trend up? Is it down? And so kind of using all of these things together, I, get a perspective on the supply and demand side, but also just overall trend as well. And so I'm generally looking for, something that has proven itself in the past. So something that, I've watched a lot. I generally am not going to jump into a stock I found 2 days ago. Because it's like, if you're playing poker, you're not going to go all in on the first game. And at the poker table, you don't know who's controlling the table, who's good at bluffing, who's just sucks at the game. So, the personality of the stock is something I like to kind of learn over weeks or months before I even really participate. So it's really about finding a stock that I can, that works with my personality. If you trade a stock that just doesn't work with your personality, that's the first red flag. And then finding that stock and then applying those supply and demand principles, using the raindrops, using the anchored view app, and just basic trend as well. So a lot of trend following, and then just finding those setups that kind of have that same setup every time. I'm looking for the same thing every time.
It's almost boring, isn't it?
In a sense. It does. Yeah, it gets, over time, it's like, well, I've seen this about 100 times. So
Right.
Yeah, over time, it definitely is like, this is getting really redundant.
But that's the thing about trading, and I think a lot of people try to figure that out, or it takes them a while to figure it out. That it is really all about redundancy and looking for the same patterns over and over and over again. So let me ask you this: from a trader's point of view, when you approach the market, are you scalping the market? Are you sitting in a trade for a few days? How do you really approach the market, and what asset classes do you prefer to trade?
Yep. So I'm generally looking at, days to weeks. Now, if let's say that I get an options contract and the next day, the spot price is up 5%, I'll probably take the profit. So it's always geared towards like more of a swing position trade. But, if I do essentially get a big win overnight, then I'll take it. And that's generally like with options. If let's say I get in like Apple or a different stock and the spot price is up 5%, I'll just keep holding it, because the main reason I'll sell on an impulse move on the spot is just because, options, they can decay. If we have a big move up and then even a 2-3% pullback, those are going to get hit hard depending on, what strike you have, or expiration and strike, I guess. But if I'm trading options, I'm looking 2 months out. I'm not looking at the weeklies. If I am trading options, I'm looking at like the monthly expiration. There's just more liquidity there. And then, from a time frame standpoint, I'm generally looking at the weekly and the monthly charts.
Wow.
The daily chart is kind of, what I'll almost take the trade on. 65-minute candles, one I like to use a lot. Simply because there's 390 minutes in a day. You divide that by 65, you get 6 even candles. That's another thing that I learned from Brian. Brian's been a big mentor to me over the last few years. So it's really 65-minute, daily, weekly, and monthly.
That's awesome. Well, Jake, I have to say, like I mentioned before, as somebody that's been watching you over the last several years, and having you as being interviewed in our community, in the Forex analytics community, it's been wonderful to see you really evolve as a trader and evolve as a company with Trendspider. So if I'm at home and I want to learn more about you and I want to follow what you do, what's the best way of me to, how do I do that?
So you can follow Trendspider. It's just @Trendspider on Twitter. That's something that really our marketing team now kind of handles. When we first started Trendspider, that was kind of my main thing, was to kind of build the social presence. And then, so, I still will post on the Trendspider account. So @Trendspider on Twitter, and then @Trendspider_J is my personal handle. And I post a ton of charts and try to I try to just be educational. My goal is not, and I say this all the time, my goal is not to post so people make money. If I'm trying to make people money, that means that they're going to blame me when they lose money too. So I want to teach people how to fish, rather than fish for them. And so I'd like to post a lot of videos, and we do have a YouTube channel it's @Trendspider on YouTube as well. And I don't have a personal YouTube account. It's just the Trendspider account. And then trendspider.com is where you can actually check out the platform and check out the different features that we have, and some of the different, case studies on different things through our blog and all of that. So trendspider.com is where you can learn more about the platform. And then Twitter is really where I post most of my content under @Trendspider_J. And then of course our Twitter, for the company, we also have a ton of content on there too.
Awesome. Well, Jake, this was for us for the Traders Summit community. This was more I wanted everybody to meet you and know a little bit more about you. But the next time that we meet up, I want some actionable ideas, things that you're looking at the moment. Sound good?
I love it. And hopefully we can share screens so I can kind of make it visual, because a lot of the stuff I do is very visual, and I'll be talking about it and people are like, what the hell is he talking about with this? So the visual representation definitely is a great way to kind of connect everything.
You bet. And that's going to be the next time we meet. We're going to be looking at your charts. I want to see your charts. I love the raindrop, the raindrop charts. I think those are super cool. And I know everybody at home is going to want to see those as well. So Jake, thank you so much for spending your time with me today. And I'll look forward to our next time that we meet.
Hey, thank you so much. And I'm looking forward to the next time too.
All right. We'll talk to you soon.
All righty.